ahead. Questions for Jared?
Coach, is it 6:30 start time, a little bit earlier morning skate? Does that mess your guys' routine up at all?
No.
What are you looking for tonight after not getting the result a couple nights ago? Obviously, I'm sure you're looking for the result. Is there anything you want to see them process-wise do differently?
I just want to make sure we stay disciplined with our game. You know, like we've been playing hard, we've been playing well. There's a couple things we talked about this morning, and part of that is like the discipline to stick with our game and make sure that we don't get frustrated. I don't think the penalties the other night were, frustration based, but I do think like when you're trying to get back in a hockey game, you're down 1 or you're 1-1, you're down 2-1, and then you take 3 straight penalties in the third period. I felt like all those could have been prevented. Just careless on a couple. One was undisciplined. One we let a guy get inside of us in the D zone. And the importance of playing every play like it's the most important play of the game, especially in tight games like that, and being willing to stick with our game longer than the opposition in order to secure the 2 points. So that's basically what I'm looking for again here tonight. Like we've been pretty disciplined in this stretch, and I want it to continue and even build for the playoff time.
It's been 2 weeks now almost with Charlie and Brock and all the new guys coming in. Are they settled in? What's the sign that they've settled in?
Yeah, I think they have. Like I think those guys got comfortable quickly. Okay, especially Charlie. I think role very similar in a role that he can excel in, and then I think like Brock, it's his first time ever playing for a different organization, and I've kind of moved his line mates around a little bit here and there, but he's been solid on the defensive side of it. We've seen flashes of what he can do on the offensive side of things, but to me, you can tell he's more comfortable now, and we're starting to see a little bit more of his game, and yeah, it's just now I think it's just kind of building on the chemistry that they have with their different line mates and continue to do what they've been doing.
How much more, I guess, experimenting is there left in these last 8 games, or is it more just about what you said, building on it?
Yeah, not a lot. I think we've seen a bunch of different combinations that we can go with here, and so it's just now for me about making sure that we get the production out of our top 6 that we want, that they're dangerous enough. Like some nights they're going to go in, some nights they aren't, but I want both those lines, making sure that we're really dangerous. If I don't like something, I'll just flip it around a little bit.
Good. Thank
Joel,
you.
Kibbrut and EJ.
EJ's in, Kivvy's going to be out again tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think experience is huge. We have an experienced team top to bottom. Most of our guys have played in some huge games, and I think it's something you can lean on. I mean, especially when the atmosphere gets cranked up in away buildings, I think that's when you can really settle things down, and I think it makes a difference, and hopefully I can, lend a helping hand in that regard. So, yeah, lots of big game players in here with lots of experience. That definitely helps.
So yeah, the game against Dallas and the game against Montreal, where you guys had leads and let it slip away, but you find a way to win. Is that something that you can lean on in a month when, hey, even when things start to slide the other way, we know how to stop the bleeding and get back on our toes?
I think for us, we don't want it to happen, but it's not necessarily a thing that's bad for your team to go through. I think it's not always perfect throughout a season. It's not always perfect throughout the playoffs. There's going to be momentum and emotional swings throughout every game and every series. So you'd like every game to be smooth sailing and hold a 3-1, 3-2 lead or 4-0 lead, but it's not always going to be the case. Teams are going to make their push, and teams are going to, there's always comebacks. So I don't think it's something that we like that happen, but I don't think it's a bad thing for your group to go through, because eventually those things are going to happen throughout the course of the series. And I just think overall our details need to be better in those situations. I think we had little lapses in our game that caused the other team to get back into it, and for me it was just puck decisions. Make the simple play when you have the lead. We don't need to make the perfect play. Use our speed and get the puck out when we have the chance, and don't give them any freebies like we did in those games.
You were leaning on Gabe a bit out there on some of that special teams work. Not to go too far into it, but just from your perspective, how is he looking in terms of starting to inch his way back towards game readiness?
Yeah, he didn't have a red jersey on, so I was free to give him as many cross checks as I would have liked. So I only gave him 1 or 2, but he handled them fine. And there's going to be rust for sure whenever he comes back, and I think it's just going to be a matter of him working his way back into it. And these are important steps in that process. And I think as much real-time game uncertainty action his knee and body can get, I think is going to be a good benefit to him. And we're not going to crank on him too hard, but I think he wants to feel that pressure a little bit. And it was nice to give him a little bit of that today. I know he's excited to be out there, and we get a huge boost when he's out there.
Regardless of whatever happens next week, how proud are you of him for going through everything he's gone through and still continuing to be here to push?
Big time. He could have sailed off into the sunset and called it a career and collected his paycheck for the next 5 years, and wiped his hands and been a legend in this organization. He still is, whether he comes back or not. But he wanted to see this thing through, and got to give him credit. No one's done it, but at some point, every surgery that's been attempted was the first time for that surgery. So hopefully, he's spearheading, a procedure that a lot of kids and players will use in the future, and see that Gabe Landeskog could come back from this, and so can I. And proud of him because I know he's put so much time and money and resources, and it's the mental grind on him has been a lot, just as much as the physical grind. So I know he desperately wants to get back and is doing everything in his power to do that. And like I said, he didn't have to go through all this to try and come back. He doesn't owe anyone anything, and for him to put his body through this and then try and come back to help this team is pretty special, and it'll be a great boost when he's back. Thank you, Jesse.
When you come back to an organization you know so well, is there a learning curve still, or can you just see him come in?
There's still a little bit of a learning curve. Systems are mostly the same, but some things have changed, and a lot of different faces than when I left. So just getting used to guys' tendencies and everything like that. But for the most part, we have a real experienced veteran group, and guys are reading off each other pretty good. But just the familiarity I have at the arena, with the staff, with everybody, just makes it that much easier. So just to step back into that makes it kind of back in your comfort zone.
Not being in the lineup, things like that. Seems like the intensity is ratcheted up even another level. I guess, how are you feeling? Are you seeing that the same way?
For sure, yeah. I think competition is good for everyone. I mean, it definitely pushes everyone throughout the lineup. I think right now that's something our team's fortunate to have between forwards, D-men. So this time of year, you want to get the best out of everyone, and we want to be peaking at the right time going into playoffs.
That unit, with you and Parker and Jack, what is it that works? I know you talked about it last week, saying it reminds you a little bit of that line with Cogs and Helmer, but what is it that works so well?
I think we play to our identity. I think we take pride in being a responsible unit out there. I think our skating ability can get on pucks quickly, turn pucks over, give it up to the D-men, and then try and get some greasy ones from there. I feel as though we all play a similar type style and complement each other well. So it's on us to just continue to get pucks deep, force D-men to come through us, come through 5 guys, and then defend hard. And if we do those things, I think we're going to spend a lot of time in the ozone.
Thanks so much, Jose.
Yep,
for sure.
What's your reaction to the pilots making another Frozen Four?
I mean, what they've done is pretty remarkable. I think 6 of the last 9 years they've been fortunate enough to go to the Frozen Four, and I think Dave Carl, obviously knows how to win. The guys there know how to win. It's sort of embedded in the culture of DU, so it's awesome to see. I think people maybe underestimated them in the tournament, and they relied on that veteran savviness, and Matty Davis was huge in that. Zeke Bouillon back there has been pretty special to watch, so I was definitely, we had a couple group chats going with former players, and it was awesome to see. We're really proud of the program.
Where you're going to be at, first round matchup and all that. Does that change anything about what you talk about, prepare, anything like that, or do you guys don't really pay attention to that?
I mean, we got to focus on the task at hand and making sure we're fine-tuning our game with the opportunities, the games that we have left. So that's always the main focus. You want to hit the ground running when you're heading into playoffs and be playing good hockey and feel good about your game habits-wise, details-wise. I personally haven't looked at the standings the last couple days, so I don't know how it plays out. I'm sure it looks like we're shaping up to, who we're going to play against already. I don't know if anything else can happen or what, but yeah, I think right now we just focus on what we need to focus on. Right now, that's Calgary, and we hit each game as it comes.
How much do you check the standings throughout the year, just out of curiosity?
It's a little different now looking at the Western Conference and Eastern Conference, but every now and then. It's not like something I'm looking at personally after every game or whatever. It's that stuff will take care of itself if you do the right things on the ice and you do your job. But once in a while, you check it just to see how teams are shaping up. Maybe viewing some scores or watching highlights of other games, other people, how they're scoring or things like that. So it just depends on the day, really, but it's not really a daily thing for me.
It's been 2 weeks now. Are you settled in on and off the ice?
A little bit. We're still getting there. Off the ice, having my family and stuff, and my 2 dogs at home. They're not here yet, so we don't have a full family yet. But yeah, we're pretty settled in. It's nice to, you can worry. You don't have to worry about yourself usually when things happen. It's the other people. It's your wife, your kid, all those that you're worried about. Make sure they're settled. And so once they're settled in, it was a little more at ease feeling for me. And so we have that.
Just take the stress off on that part of your life. Can you focus more on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good sense of, just focusing on what I need to focus on in the moment, whether you have things going or not. If you can't control those things, then, I think I've been pretty good at focusing on what I need to at that given moment. Granted, you always have that in the back of your mind where, I hope my wife and my kid are doing okay back there, and, because people don't see, they're the ones packing up, they're the ones on the move, have to do everything while we're out here just playing hockey and doing our job. They're doing the big move back there, so there's a lot of things that I don't see and people don't see, but that's why you have to give a shout out to the wives and the girlfriends and those significant others for doing all that stuff.
What kind of dogs?
Golden